Hi, friends. Okay, today we are going to talk about being 50 years old or older, so 50 plus, and being in the corporate world and worrying about losing our job. My name's Stephanie, her money coach, and I talk all things money mindset. Today, I want to talk about what is the threat to getting laid off and what might be different if we're in our 50s and older. The corporate world can be a fickle place, especially for us over 50. And I know this because I've been in the corporate world for over 30 years. I have been through countless reorgs, layoffs, rifts, downsizing, whatever you want to call it. I have experienced it in every way, shape, or form. The threat of being laid off is real in our society, but it's even more real for those of us that are over 50, because the truth is age discrimination and rapid technology change does affect us. And if you are over 50 and you're worried you might lose your job, listen up, please. Yes, there is age discrimination. That is real. But we can take proactive steps to protect our careers. And this is coming to you on this very day. It is so real for me. This morning I woke up and I had, I'd say, 6 organizational announcements talking about org changes for the next year, and as a result, what groups would be going away. I'm recording this a couple weeks before Christmas. This is often the time that companies decide to do that. And even though my group wasn't on this list, it still creates a lot of uncertainty, because the truth is, this is just like the first layer. There will be underneath things happening and changing that could affect me, and I could be let go or something else. I work for an extremely large corporation with over, I think, 35,000 employees all over the globe, and things change constantly. I think this is like the 5th or 6th round of changes that we've had in this very year. And companies change because they have to, because market changes, economies change, governments change, and so they have to change too. So this change is just a reality that if you are 50 plus and you're in the corporate workspace, or even not corporate, if you are in the workplace, change is likely happening. And you might be feeling uncertain and nervous about what the future brings. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because the truth is, even though I love my corporate job and I feel I contribute significantly, I've got a lot of experience, I understand that layoffs can happen at any time. After 30 years of doing this, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand, how quickly things can change, even for dedicated, talented employees. I have seen many hardworking, smart people that have been rising up the ranks at one point find themselves rift, downsized, fired. And these layoffs may not even make sense. A few years ago, and a merger that a company I was at that merged. As part of the merger, they let go of the entire tech team that supported platform outages, and no one knew. So then the next day, this whole team was gone and no one could support the organization for when systems went out. And it just happens in very large organizations when they're making these. They sometimes don't even know what they're letting go of. And so just like me today, waking up and seeing that there's more changes coming, I know that this is just a continual thing. And if you're over 50, you're just more at risk. And here's why. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, they don't track layoffs specifically by age group, but there are several studies and reports that suggest older workers, particularly those over 50, are disproportionately affected by layoffs and even experience longer periods of unemployment compared to younger workers. And here's why. The truth is, older workers may be perceived as less adaptable to change, more expensive to retain because their salaries are more because they've been in the workplace and have more experience. These can lead them to be targets for layoffs. And all these rapid technology advancements can lead to job displacement, and older workers may be less likely to gain the new technical skills necessary to adapt to these changes. So step 1 is protecting your job, your current job. Like for me, I haven't been laid off. layoffs are going on, but I am in a position still where I can protect myself in any way that I can. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, things happen. So here are actionable ways that those of us 50 plus can protect ourselves from getting laid off. So in a job, protect ourselves. So the first one is to stay updated. Keep abreast of industry trends, technology advancements, and emerging best practices. Whatever your industry and your job is, just keep updated. And in that vein, upskill and reskill. Pursue certifications. LinkedIn has all kinds of certifications you can get. There's online courses everywhere and workshops where you can acquire new skills and enhance your existing ones. A good example of that is AI. People are using AI in different areas, and we're all going to need to know how to do it in some way, shape, or form. So upskilling or reskilling is very important. And then embrace technology. It's kind of easy for me to say because I've been in the tech world forever, but there are technical things that I don't get, like, for example, how to edit YouTube videos and all of those things. But instead of resisting it, learn to embrace technology, learn softwares and tools that can improve your productivity. I have a video on why everyone over 50 should start a YouTube channel because it's fun, but also because it is a great way to embrace technology. You are really taking it on and learning it, and it's fun and it helps you grow. So the other thing is maintain strong relationships. If you're over 50 in the corporate world or out in the job market, you have a lot of relationships that you've built over time, and you just need to cultivate those relationships, reach out, talk to people. I mean, there are people I've worked with, 20 years ago that I haven't talked to in 20 years. I could reach out to those people. It's so easy now. You can do it on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You can just reach out, say hi, and what are you up to? And just work on relationships, because at the end of the day, relationships are what helps you keep or get a new job. And not just your current relationships, but expand your network. Attend industry events, join professional groups, leverage social media, and connect with people that you don't know yet that are in your field or in a field you want to be in. And as a tenured, experienced person, you can mentor other people, mentor people in your company, mentor people outside your company in leadership skills, helping younger people or less experienced people with all of your wisdom. Being a thought leader in whatever industry you're in will help you keep your current job by being a person who adds value. Then, of course, there's like our basic career management skills, like make sure you've set clear goals for yourself, short and long term. And remember to get feedback from your boss, from leadership, from stakeholders, from the people that work for you. Getting regular feedback can help you identify areas that you may want to improve. And keep your resume up to date. Don't let it get stagnant. It's easy to do that when we're busy in the day-to-day, but keep it up to date, because if something happens and you do get laid off, you can just shift into the looking for a job task. And then most importantly, be adaptable. I know it's hard, but we all need to embrace change, because change is not going away. And show initiative and be flexible. That is one way to protect your current role. And then one skill that you can always, always, always improve on is communication skills. The ability to express your ideas clearly, to actively listen, to build rapport, those skills can be used everywhere and anywhere. Obviously, they're in the workplace, obviously in your relationships, but everywhere. So learning and improving communication skills should be at the top of your list. The next thing I want you to do is to know your numbers. You need to know where you are financially. You need to have a spending plan so you know what money's coming in and what money's going out, so that if something were to happen, you know where you stand, so you can react in whatever way you need to, and you're not like, oh no, what am I going to do? You need to know where you're at to know where you're going. Dave Ramsey says a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. The word budget is so weird. It brings up feelings of resistance to people, feelings of restriction, of deprivation, similar to the word diet, but much like a strict diet that leaves you dreaming of cake and cookies. A budget is actually just a structure that you get to create. So no one's dictating it to you. You are creating it, like Dave Ramsey says, to just tell your money where to go. It's no wonder so many of us shy away from budgeting because we associate it with the numbers and a painful process of basically cutting back the joys in our life, and it doesn't need to be like that. The other thing we all need to have is an emergency fund. So a set number that is in savings in a place that you can get to as a safety net. Experts say it's great to have 6 to 12 months of money that can pay your expenses. If you've done your budget or your spending plan and you know how much expenses you have every month, you can times that times 6 or 12, and that's a great emergency fund because that gives you time to find a job or do a new business, whatever you need to do, or maybe nothing. Maybe at 50 years plus, you decide it's time to retire or whatever your next thing is. The other thing is that even while you have a job, keep your fixed costs as low as you can. And the biggest contributor here is housing costs because rents, mortgages have just increased over time. And so we want to make sure that we keep our housing costs under 28% if possible. Those of us that are over 50, you should have a full-on financial plan, which is not what we're talking about today, but that would all be included in such plan. Like, when do you want to stop working? How much do you need? All of that kind of stuff. If you want me to talk more about that, just let me know in the comments that that's something you want to talk about. But today, obviously, we're talking about protecting your job and the financial considerations you need to take into account while you still have a job. Okay, and then part number 2 is what you no longer have a job. What do you do when you've been laid off? And sometimes, like I said, the best, smartest people get eliminated for no apparent reason. Once you get your pink slip, so to say, it's natural to experience a range of emotions, including shock, anger, sadness, fear. Here's what we need to do. First and most importantly is manage our mind. Monitor your thoughts and challenge negative self-talk, replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. It's just super important. You need to audit the conversations in your head. You need to audit those sentences. What do they sound like? What are the conversations that are happening in your head? Has your inner critic jumped in with, you're too old to get a job, you'll never find a job, you're irrelevant, your skills aren't necessary? And as always, I talk about how our thoughts create our feelings, and that's what creates our actions and eventually our results. So if your thoughts are creating anxiety, that anxiety is generating your actions, and those actions aren't likely to be doing the things that you need to do to find a new job or get a new income. Okay, so at the time of getting our pink slip, we are just going to really dig deep in managing our mind, our emotions. And then we're going to look at our money and we're going to prioritize finances. So we are going to focus on finding a job and cutting expenses. That's it. We don't need to right this minute worry about saving, worry about investing, worry about our retirement plan. Right now, we just need to know, how much income do I need and what kind of work or job or something that's going to create that income. And then where can I cut expenses right now? I mean, in this scenario, you have no job right now. So from a financial perspective, the only 2 things that matter are finding income, and cutting expenses, in that order. Once you have a new job or new income and stability, then you can adjust and go back to a bigger plan. Do not worry right now about what's down the road 5 miles. Just focus on getting through this next half a mile, which is the most important thing right now. One of the great challenges in losing a job is that when you lose your job, often others that also are losing their job. Oftentimes it's an industry thing. Let's say I worked for the Yellow Pages, which really dates me. When that industry died, when local search and Google came to be, that everyone in my network also was in the Yellow Pages, and they were in the same boat I was. So that's why it's really imperative to get on finding a job quickly, because it can be like playing the adult version of musical chairs when there's a lot out in the workplace that are also maybe with your similar skills and experience looking for the same work. You don't want to be the last one standing in that instance. So in my opinion, your priorities are clear. You get aggressive about it and you set ambitious goals and you talk to everybody you know. In my mind, this is kind of an emergency. And so you treat it accordingly. And mind you, it might not be an emergency for you. If you're 50 plus and you're kind of ready to retire and do something else, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that are 50 plus that are in the workforce that still need and want to generate regular income. They're not ready to retire yet. In this topic of managing your mind and monitoring your thoughts and reframe, you want to replace those thoughts that are telling you you're irrelevant or you're old to things like, I got this, I always figure out a way, and I always add value. These are thoughts that I say to myself day in, day out. I always add value, no matter what I'm doing at work, no matter what my relationship conversation is. I always want to and aim to add value. And I'll tell you a quick story. It's the bricklayer story. Okay, so there's 3 bricklayers, each with a different perspective on their work. They're all 3 building a cathedral. The first bricklayer hunched over his task and muttered, "I'm just laying bricks. It's a job. I need the money to feed my family." And his movements are slow and labored, and his eyes are fixed on the ground. That's how he describes his bricklaying job. Then the second bricklayer kind of stands taller, and he declares, "I'm building a wall. It's strong, it's sturdy, it will stand the test of times. It's a craft, and I take pride in my work." And his pace is a little more steady and is focused on the task at hand. Then there's the third bricklayer who, with a gleam in his eye, exclaims, "We're building a cathedral, a place of worship, a beacon of hope, and a masterpiece that will inspire generations to come. It's a calling, and I'm honored to be part of it." His hands move with grace and with purpose, and his spirit is lifted by the vision of this finished cathedral. So as they worked, a passerby approached each of them and said, "What are you doing?" And the first bricklayer grumbled, "Can't you see I'm laying bricks?" The second bricklayer replies, "I'm building a wall." And the third bricklayer, with a smile, says, "I'm building a cathedral." The passerby nodded, understanding the difference in their perspectives, and the first bricklayer saw only the task at hand, the second saw the immediate goal, and the third saw the grand vision. The story of these 3 bricklayers teaches us the importance of perspective and purpose. When we approach our work with a sense of meaning, contribution, our efforts become more than just a job or task. They become something greater than ourselves. And that's what I mean when I say I always add value. And when you can say I always add value, because in this job search time, it can be a roller coaster and it can be hard and it can make you feel bad about yourself. And so you need to just show up with the intention of being like the third bricklayer and adding value. I truly think it's the most important thing you can do. As you move through these emotions of grief, don't get stuck. So you're going to need to process your emotions, and take better actions coming from a place of positive emotion. So if we think about it, I say thoughts generate feelings, feelings generate action, action generate results. So as an example, if I'm having the thought, this is happening for my good, even though I don't see it, that is generating hope. Like, okay, I don't see it, but something good is happening. And from hope, I actually will pick up the phone, talk to people, network, I'll apply for jobs. I won't be getting depressed and isolating because I'm coming from a place of hope. And then the result will be that I either find a new job or I find a side hustle or something different, but I find something that lights me up and creates income. Instead of your thoughts being, I'm too old and irrelevant. If that is your thought, you're going to feel pretty like hopeless. And from a place of hopelessness, you're going to do things like be too embarrassed to talk to people. You're going to stew over, why did this happen to me? You maybe lay in bed and, put your pillow over your head. And if those are the things you're doing, you are not going to be finding a new job or a new income. So this hopelessness is not getting you to a result that you want. That's how that thought, feeling, action, results works. So just be cognizant of that in your brain. Let's go back to, let's say, from a feeling of hope. You're going to leverage your network. You're going to reach out you're going to get advice, you're going to get job leads, and you're going to talk to people. And coming from a place of hope, those conversations are going to be great. And just like if you already have a job, you should look at your skills. Do you need to upskill or reskill? If so, you invest in your education, your career development, see what new trends might be coming. Cal Newport has a great book called So Good They Can't Ignore You. And he talks about this concept of the craftsman's mindset. And focusing on skill, not passion, is what you should do. There was a whole bunch of literature and movements back in the day that talked about find your passion and life will be great and you'll be rich. And I just don't think that's always the case. It's great if you have a job that you are passionate about and it doesn't feel like work. But for many of us, our job is not that. We have to have passions in other ways. Therefore, we really should be focusing on our skill. And that's what he advocates for. Developing rare and valuable skills is what will keep you in high demand. It will make you more resilient as job markets fluctuate, and they do. And practicing is very important. So investing time in honing your existing skills and acquiring new ones. Deliberate practice involves setting specific goals, getting feedback, and stepping out of your comfort zone. And for a lot of 50-year-old plus, this is maybe not what you're thinking about. Maybe you're thinking about, the end of your road and wanting to retire. And that's all fine and good, but you still need to be invested in improving your skills and acquiring new ones. Cal, in his book, also talks about career capital, which actually means leaning into your strengths. So build your assets. Consider your skills, your experience, your network, your career capital. By investing in these assets, you increase your value to potential employers. Then you need to think about what he calls your USP, your unique selling proposition. What sets you apart from other job seekers? Highlight your unique strengths and experiences to position yourself as a valuable asset. The other concept that comes to mind is from Dan Kennedy, and he talks about adopt a buyer's mindset, always be the buyer. So when someone is always the buyer, they view every situation, including job hunting, as a negotiation. They question the status quo. They seek the best possible deal. They are not afraid to ask what they want. They empower them to take control of their career and make choices that align their goals and values. If you think of it like this, if you're in the market to buy a used car and you don't have a car right now and you need one to get transportation, when you go to the car lot, it's different if you already have a car and you know exactly what you want, you know how much you want to pay for it. When you get to that lot, you are in control. you have what he's calling the buyer's mindset. And lastly, friend, I want you to value yourself. Recognize your worth and position yourself as a valuable asset. Like I said, we should be investing in ourselves, continually upgrading our skills. Most of all, we need to believe in ourselves, and we need to remember we have a lot of wisdom. We have a lot of experiences. We have a lot of strengths, and we can bring that to add value to the world. Your experiences and wisdom are valuable assets. Don't let fear paralyze you. Please take control of your career, whether it's continually working to keep your current role, or if you get laid off or decide to move on, that you are doing the things to get to your next opportunity. So yes, the threat of layoffs can be daunting. The world is changing, organizations are changing every day, and this can be scary, particularly for older workers, but it's essential that we all approach the situation with a proactive and positive mindset. And we keep upskilling, we keep networking, we maintain strong personal brand. And that just means basically just your reputation in the industry or in the career that you're in. And you can increase your job security and reduce your vulnerability if you continue to do these things that I talked about. So, friend, if you're going through a change or uncertainty like I am, I'm right there with you. In the comments, please chime in. I'm sure there's many things I didn't think of that I would love to hear from you about, and things that maybe you don't agree with. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested, go to hermoneycoach.com and sign up for my weekly newsletter on money mindset tips.